Some very interesting developments now with Bitcoin and crypto in general. So we've had the weekly close and it was a fantastic weekly close. Now, what I wanted to take you through was, in fact, how we frame continuation. Okay, so we obviously know right now that Bitcoin is in expansion, right? And essentially this model, this model that we're still trading within right now is a power of three model. Okay, so you have accumulation, okay, which is right there. You have manipulation of the consolidation and the accumulation of the range. You have manipulation of the lows, which we had, and then you have distribution, okay, which in other words is called expansion. So we have a few targets now, right? And as we mentioned lots of times, we've got this change in state of delivery from a weekly time frame that we're still trading within. We have consolidated around the zero point 0.5 negative standard deviation target and the negative 1 standard deviation target. And each time we have broke out higher, okay? The next target is in fact the negative 1.5 standard deviation target. And what you can see here is we have we kind of have these two relative equal lows right here. So, okay, you can see that was our last sell program. And this is, of course, sell side liquidity, both of these relative equal highs up here. And we're going to take the all-time high. Okay, so this is, of course, the all-time high. And we're going to say this is this is actually our external range liquidity. Okay, plus all-time high plus buy side liquidity. So this is obviously a major level at this moment of time, this all-time high price. And you can see just beyond the all-time high price is actually the negative 1.5 standard deviation target, right? So this is obviously a key level right now that we're aiming towards, okay? And we want to see the reaction at this level. Now, as you know, I do actually have a standard deviation target of -2 and -2.5 for this overall, I would say, target of the change in state of delivery model, right? This is the model that this is the end, this is the exit, in fact, that I'm looking for ultimately. And all we want to see is now framing continuation to our targets, okay? And in order to frame continuation, what we want to see is, typically want to see is these up close candles remaining bullish, okay, which we've had ever since the manipulation of this low, well, this low right here, okay, into this key high time frame level, which was our breakaway gap, which we've mentioned plenty of times. And you can see as we traded into expansion, and of course, to break this high of the change in state of delivery model, we had to have this big displacement move higher, which is this up close candle. Okay, I think I'll put it on demonstration mode. Now, if we frame ourselves back to the 21st of April, right, this would have been our previous week range. You can see that what we actually done was we manipulated the previous week high in this case and traded into the previous week range, okay, but it was still an up close candle, right? And you can see obviously we had opened the new weekly candle here and had another big displacement move higher. All right. So yes, we could have potentially framed a pullback. However, this was still an up close candle. I would have really liked to have seen this being a down close candle in order to really frame a possible sell program here. Right. So now that we had seen continuation and we also have let's see. Okay, so you will also see this previous week range right, this candle, this up close candle structure which we had here, and obviously we had a ginormous weekly candle from, this was a big impulsive move from around 93,000 to as high as nearly 105,000. And you can see we obviously got the close way above this level and way above the -1 standard deviation target. All right. And now what we've got is, of course, the previous week range that we've just actually closed above. You can see that we've just closed above the previous week high. Okay. And this is what I mentioned in the last Bitcoin video. In order to see continuation higher, continuation to a new all-time high, and to this key all-time high level, is we wanted to see a close above the previous week high, right? And we've now got the close above the previous week high. So this is indicating to me that we are still in a continuation model, and that ultimately the target is now this target, okay, around 110,000. Now, of course, that can change very quickly, okay, because now we have our new previous week range formation, which is, of course, here. This is our new previous week range formation. So we can now draw this out. Okay, this is our new previous week range. And we can mark these levels out. And you can see that we have, in fact, opened a new weekly candle, having taken in the previous week high. Right, so we've already potentially manipulated the previous week high. That being said, we are, how far away are we from? We are around 2.5% away from a new all-time high. So could we manipulate previous week high and have a bit of a pullback? Possibly. I do believe we're still in this continuation model. Typically, when you have a change in state of delivery model, you do actually target the likes of a -2 to -2.5 standard deviation target. I still believe that this area is our target, which is marked out here. I think once Bitcoin enters price discovery, that's when you're going to see a lot of altcoins actually begin to move again. But right now, we have actually manipulated previous week high. Yes, we could potentially have a bit of a pullback, which is expected. But ultimately, right now, I think the target is actually external range liquidity and the all-time high, right? A new all-time high. So that's what I'm thinking at the moment. If we move to the daily time frame, okay, and you know, this is still a pretty tight range that we've got, okay. So obviously the formation of previous week high in this case was actually a lot of the price action today, Sunday, which you can see. This was Sunday candle. So this gave us the move to form previous week high, and you can see we've just manipulated previous week high. So yes, we could have a potential pullback, right? Pullback, possibly we could maybe mark out something like this, okay? And potentially say candle range high to candle range low, and see a retracement maybe to the equilibrium level. Could very much happen. We're just going to have to see, okay? But for now, it remains that we've taken previous week high, all right? We want to ideally now see daily closes above previous week high and just continue to trend towards the all-time high, all right? And I think from a trend following perspective, obviously we are still in a bull regime, as you can see here, okay? Still in a bull regime, have been for 28 days, which you can see there, 28 days. And yeah, things are looking pretty good. It's hard to be bearish Bitcoin. Obviously, we had a sell program which was here, Okay, that was manipulation of Monday range. We covered this in the last video. Well, this was actually formation of Monday range high and Monday range low. We manipulated the previous week high, which was this high here, and we had a bit of a pullback. So that came to fruition. All right. But right at this moment of time, don't go against the trend. Yes, we have manipulated this previous week high at the moment. So now we're just looking for daily closes. All right. We want to see how daily structure forms. But again, a similar situation, upwards accumulation. Okay. Now we've got, again, accumulation, consolidation. We're just forming bases. All right. So this is obviously a market maker buy model. Right. And market maker buy models typically end when you've taken the opposing side liquidity of the opposing model. Okay, so this was obviously a market maker sell model, being from this high and then ending towards this low. Okay, you take out a significant low, which is this low, and you take out significant internal range liquidity, which is a key high time frame level, being a breakaway cap. And that's typically how market maker models form, right? You have to target opposing side liquidity, whether it be an internal range liquidity such as this, or a key inefficiency, key imbalance, key high time frame level, or in this case of a market maker buy model, you are now targeting opposing side liquidity and the start of the market maker sell model, right? So until we take this high, then we may potentially start an immediate sell program, right, and frame a larger pullback once we take the high. So something like this, and then begin to pull back, right? Because we're actually hit the negative 1.5 standard deviation target. So then we could, of course, pull back. But I do think that the target is still the negative 2 to negative 2.5 standard deviation target, which is just a typical target for the change in state of delivery model. All right. So I think I'm going to end that there. We have, it's been a pretty fantastic, especially from a spot perspective, been a pretty fantastic month. All right, couple of months. Yeah, as we've covered a lot, I was, of course, early on the longs all the way down here and exited around here. Then regained, well, we had a new buy program, which we know was here, and then got back in positions around these levels at the initial base of the market maker buy model, right? So this is the initial base, this consolidation. Then you have the second base, in this case upwards accumulation, third base, and then you begin to target in this case, the market maker sell model high or a new all-time high. So, of course, been fantastic. Altcoins are still pretty lackluster, but Bitcoin is still going to be the ultimate driver of where altcoins end up and where ETH ends up. Okay, so I'm going to end that there. That's the update. That's what I'm looking at the moment. I am not going to enter any positions, short or long, just yet. I'm going to wait to see how Monday range forms, and then we will see how the week looks. Cheers.